Good morning, viewer. Welcome to our first TV. Where is the breaking news? Yes. What do a capsule in Australia, a cylinder in Thailand, and a camera in the US have in common? All three contain radioactive material and went missing over the past 3 months in what experts say is hugely rare coincidence that nonetheless raises skeptic questions about what are a fascinating and incredibly useful set of substances. A radioactive isotope, also known as a radioisotope, is an unstable form of a chemical element that breaks down over time in the form of radiation. These chemicals can be found naturally, but many are created artificially. The radiation these elements emit come in the form of alpha, beta and gamma rays which, depending on their concentration, can be dangerous. But their unique properties also make them useful for a host of applications, from killing cancerous cells to making incredible precise measurements. Radioactive sources are more prevalent than most people might realize. Hundreds of thousands of these sources are used and transported without issue every year. Lawrence Steen, General Manager of Radioactive Services WA, a consultancy that writes about radiation management plans in Australia. Radioactive materials have a variety of industrial areas, like the cylinder that went missing in Thailand, which measured as at a coal power plant. In construction, radiographic cameras like the one that went missing in the US can be used to inspect the integrity of ships, pipes and other small spaces, according to the National Nuclear Security Administration. Radioactive substances can also be found in gauges that test soil. The capsule that went missing in Australia, for example, was used in a density gauge by the mining company Rio Tinto. Additionally, radioactive substances are used in hospitals to diagnose and treat various cancers or to sanitize blood for transfusions, according to David McIntyre, a public affairs officer for the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Much depends on the type of radioactive isotope within a device and whether it is contained within shielding or open to the element. The risk of radiation exposure from the camera that went missing in Texas is very low, especially because the radioactive material is encapsulated by multiple layers of protection, officials say. But the capsule in Australia and the cylinder in Thailand contain cesium-137, a highly radioactive substance that's potentially lethal. Experts warn that cesium-137 can create serious health problems for people who come into contact with it: skin burns from close exposure, radiation sickness, and potentially deadly cancer risks, especially for those exposed unknowingly for long periods of time. Cesium-137 has a half-life of about 30 years, which means it could pose a risk to the population for decades to come, not found. The risk of radioactive material being present in an unknown area for an indefinite period of time was a particular concern in Australia case because the radioactive capsule went missing along a vast stretch of highway in the desert and was not contained within protective housing. It was found after a challenging search linked to trying to find a needle in a assuaging fears that people could have been exposed to radiation unknowingly. If general people and to come into contact unknowingly, the health effects will depend on the level of radiation intensity. If it is high, the first thing we will see is skin irritation. Panama Kanchana, Deputy Secretary General of the Office for Atoms of a government regulatory for radioactive and nuclear research in Thailand, told CNN. The intensity of the radiation for the missing cylinder in Thailand should be slightly hampered by the radioactive casing surrounding the radioactive source, experts suggest. Behind the report, Posak TV.